If you remember in some of the past videos on Gregg Shorthand, I had made the statement, I think more than once, that after I got through all the alphabets from A to Z, that it would still be an ongoing process of higher education in Gregg Shorthand. And I'd be sharing many brief forms with you because that is the main goal once learning Gregg Shorthand, is to develop your own brief forms in as many brief forms as you can. I'm sure the title of this video is going to catch the eyes of many people. And if I were to tell you that after watching this one video, even if you've never watched any of the videos previous to this one on Gregg Shorthand, that after watching this one, that you will be able to go to your college class tomorrow. Now, I know I'm getting ready to sound like a fool, but just hear me out, because this is on the for real. And as you're passing your instructor's test, you can say, oh, by the way, I'm learning Gregg Shorthand, and I just started yesterday, and I'm already up to 300 words a minute. And then you walk away and you sit down at your desk and you're getting your books out, and then you're just having to, you're all the while trying to catch his response or her response out the corner of your eye. And when you finally look back at them in the face there, yeah, 300 words a minute, and I just started yesterday. Well, if you're kind of like me, there's times for foolishness and play, I guess, but now, if you're like me at times, most of the time, I guess I don't like nobody acting a fool with me. I'll be honest with you. Life is too serious of a thing, and I don't like to be played with and toyed with too much, and most folks don't. And education is a very serious thing, and it seems like sometimes it takes getting older and older to see the value of a good education. So education in any field of knowledge is something that we should take very serious. And I am not kidding you. After this lesson, if you've never looked at any of the previous videos, you should be able to do about 300 words a minute in Gregg Shorthand. Now, in a few videos to come, I'm going to take pen and ink. God willing, I'm going to take pen and ink, aim the camera down, and I'll start off doing 120 words a minute. And I will, before starting those videos, have my little Sony cassette, and I will be speaking in it everything that I'm going to be writing. And when I aim the camera at the tablet, I will push the button, and as I hear dictation from my own lips that I pre-recorded, I'll be writing, and I'll start off with 120 words a minute. Then I'll probably go to 180, then maybe 220, and then I'll try to do it on tablet up to 300 words a minute. And it'll be dialogue or diction of words that are just, telling a story or so. But what I'm going to show you in this lesson to get you up to 300 words a minute, even if you've never seen the previous videos, I'm going to show you some brief forms. Remember in the previous videos, once again, I spoke about how we were going to be looking into brief forms, because that's what you want to develop, your own brief forms. Brief forms is something that you can personally develop to yourself that doesn't have to match someone else's brief form for the same word, the same phrase, or even the same sentence. And that's why it's hard for one stenographer to read another stenographer's notes in Gregg Shorthand, because everybody develops their own brief forms. And I told you early on that I'd be sharing some of mine with you so to help you in speed. And some of you have sent me emails asking this very question. Can you share with me some speed building exercises? And I did do that in part with showing you how to connect words of certain phrases and certain sentences, which helps us really move on a lot. And when you see these videos that I hope to put up, upload with me writing on a tablet with pen and ink, especially when we get to over 200 words a minute, you're going to see me connecting a lot of words together, because I'm going to want to keep that pen on the page, and I'm not going to want to lift it up off the page. Now, to be a court reporter in Mississippi with pen and ink Gregg Shorthand, you have to certify at 236 words a minute. I think that's what it is. That sounds a lot, like a lot, but if you listen to some lawyers, question a defendant, and they're up there. And where was you Thursday night? Oh, well, what about Friday? Oh, wait a minute. Now that contradicts what you told us here just moments ago. Where was you Saturday? Okay, where was you Sunday? Where was you Monday? And I mean, they're going on so fast that really even 236 words a minute, sometimes even 300 words a minute. If you're getting all the words right, you're still going to fall behind. I know that's hard to believe, but there are some attorneys that are some very, very fast speakers, and that's why a court reporter will always have, and some of them more than one. They will have 2 or 3 tape players up there, and when one's coming to an end, they've got another one ready to push the button while they're still writing everything in shorthand, or they're on their steno machine. They're ready to hit the button of another one when the first one's going out. Because if they miss anything on the steno machine or in writing, they want to be able to play back those tapes and get back into the transcript what they might have missed out on. And nowadays, that's why, too, we have voice recognition. And you see the court reporters now, they're using a technology that the service came out with years earlier, where you just speak into a mask everything that you're hearing around you. And voice recognition takes it, puts it into the computer, and at the end of the session with the defendant or the trial, they're able to push a button, and that computer can print out the whole transcript for the judge to be studying while he's listening to testimony further on in the trial. And also the prosecutor or the defendant's attorney can be studying what's already been said to give them some ideas on how to cross-examine. But so the tape recorder is still always a safety backup. But still, if you ever get to the point, whether it's with a steno machine or Gregg Shorthand, where you can do 300 words a minute, now you are in the upper elite when it comes to shorthand. And since shorthand is used so exclusively amongst reporters and journalists and especially court reporters, I'm going to give you some super brief forms of some phrases that are used quite a bit in the courtroom, so that if you ever want to go, and you know, some of you can actually go to courtrooms once you learn Gregg Shorthand. You can go to courtrooms daily in your town or city where they let you sit in on trials, and you could be there, and right as you're sitting on the bench listening as an observer of the trial, you could be taking down testimony with your tablet, with your steno tablet, pen and ink, and practice that away too. But you're probably thinking, now, how am I going to be able to write 300 words a minute at the end of this video? Well, unless I have camera trouble here with the computer tonight and I have to bring this over to another video, if I get to put everything on this video here, and I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm not going to make an hour video here. A lot of people get bored and they can't sit still. Some people are a little antsy and they just can't sit still that long. But I'm going to try to give you an exercise here, and this is going to be an answer to those that's been asking for speed building exercises that goes a little bit beyond connecting words together. I'm going to show you some super brief forms, and if you practice in the future all phrases and words and sentences according to the format that I'm going to be showing you here, then soon as you hear a word, because this is where you want to get with Gregg Shorthand, you want to be on autopilot with Gregg Shorthand. Regardless, whatever word you're hearing, as soon as you hear it, you want to be able to you want that message to travel from your brain to your hand instantly. You remember when you first began to learn how to, it looks like I'm starting to have some camera trouble here. I might actually have to drag this on. I might have to reboot the computer and drag it onto a second video. If I do, please forgive me. We'll just make this into videos, 2 separate videos here. About 300 words a minute. Okay, you remember how it was pick and pack when you first learned how to type. And then afterwards, you'd learn some words, of course, faster and before others, and some sentences before others. You remember the famous sentence that you would practice in building up your speed. It went something like this: now is the time for every good man to come to the aid of their country. Oh my, I typed pages and pages and pages of that trying to build up my speed and everything. Well, and you did the same thing over and over and over again, and that gave you all those different words in that sentence. But at first, when you start learning how to type, it's pick and peck. But then after a while, it's like autopilot. As soon as you hear the word, your fingers just know what to do. And then after a while, when you're looking at a book, you don't even have to you don't have to think about the alphabet you're typing each word. As soon as you see the words that you're going to type, your fingers just autopilot, just go ahead and they just do the word instead of focusing on each alphabet of the word. You've learned how to type and built up a speed so good. As soon as you see the word or hear the word, your fingers just do it. You don't even have to take the time to think of what to do. You just do it. Well, that's where you want to get with Gregg Shorthand. That as soon as you hear the word yesterday, it's over with. You've already made those 3 strokes. It's over with. As soon as you heard it, you just went into action. You didn't have to think. You didn't have to fret, fear, anything. It becomes a part of every atom of your being because you've practiced it. You've saturated your soul with it. That's how good you want to get with it. I play guitar, and with guitar, the same thing. When you first start playing guitar, your fingers are sore. You got to build up calluses, and you got to practice. But after a while, when it comes to a lead run or so, the music becomes such a part of you, whatever field of music you go into, that it's just effortlessly. You don't have to look at what you're playing or anything. You can close your eyes, and everything's just flowing so smoothly. You're a part of it, and it's a part of you. Well, those of you that want to be super with Gregg Shorthand, which is a rare talent to have today since so many schools and colleges have quit teaching it. Every word and phrase in the future that you practice, you might want to do it according to the format of what I'm getting ready to show you. Now, what I'm about to show you, we're going to start off with 3 words. Objection, Your Honor. And you should be able to write that phrase 100 times with I'm about to show you, with the brief form that I'm about to share with you. You should be able to write that 100 times in a minute. And if you write that 100 times in a minute, and the brief form I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to do it. After this video is over with, you're going to be able to do it. And you will actually have already made it to 300 words a minute with Gregg Shorthand. But you might say, well, it's only going to be with those 3 words. Yes. But by doing it that way, in that format, every phrase that you want to learn in the future with different words, you put different words together, and you do it as fast as you can in 1 minute with the briefest form that you can in 1 minute. Let's say that we would have took just 2 words, like the words, Your Honor. And let's say you could have wrote that 150 times in a minute, which the brief form that I use, you could. Even being a new beginner at it, you could. All this is going to be proven to you in a minute. I'm getting ready to turn the camera to the board, and I'm going to prove to you what I'm saying. And I'm hoping that this will be one of the most exciting videos that you've ever seen when it comes to anybody online teaching you shorthand. If you could have wrote Your Honor, those 2 words, 150 times in a minute, in the brief form that I give, you can. That's 300 words in a minute. Yes, it's only 2 words, but you've learned that, and in the future, because you've wrote it so fast, and you've practiced to write it so fast, just those 2 words in a minute, in the future, when you hear those words, your whole mind and body will be acclimated to that speed of which you reached and just doing it when you just get it, those 2 words by themselves alone in a practice format that I'm about to give you. I'm hoping that makes some kind of sense. If not, it'll get a little clearer here as we go on. Now, this is probably going to look a little unprofessional, me having to turn the computer to the board. It's going to look a little shaky and all that. And I'm going to have to focus in a little clearer once I get on the board. But if you just bear with me, we're going to look at that court phrase, objection, Your Honor. And the next video, I'm going to show you a super brief form of objection overruled. And so, an objection overruled, that's 3 words. And the next video will show you how to write that an easy 100 times in 1 minute. So you see, just think, after this video, you'll be able to call your friends and in truth say, well, I just started Gregg Shorthand. I'm already at 300 words a minute. Just think, no typist in the world, no typist in the world can type that fast. You know, I've seen videos on YouTube where they'll say, oh, the fastest typer in the world. They can do this many strokes in a minute. And you know what? All they're doing is just an alphabet stroke. They might be hitting RJ, 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 and they're not really typing words out. They're just hitting strokes. Uh, but here we're dealing with words. And once again, Gregg Shorthand, when it's learned uh, in its proper form, and especially as you develop brief forms, there's no other shorthand in the world that's faster than Gregg. Now, I've looked at Pitman shorthand, and a lot of people in India, they adopt that. Now, Pitman is probably the most difficult shorthand to learn. To think that some of it changes the alphabet, the strokes might be the same, but the alphabet changes according to the pressure that you bear with your pen and either make the stroke darker or lighter. Oh my, can you imagine what your mind and hand has to come used to make one stroke darker and lighter, and that differentiates what alphabet it stands for. Oh no, I would never want to go with Pitman. Never. Gregg Shorthand is also the most artistic. I mean, there's some words that are so beautiful and artistic looking as you write them. But anyway, I know you're thinking, boy, this guy is talking out of his head. 300 words a minute after looking at the video for the first time? No way. And so anyway, you get ready to see. I'm getting ready to show you a brief form that after you watch this video, and especially, and take note of this now, what I do on the tablet, if I write objection on, or rather on the board, it's going to be maybe this this high. On a tablet, it's going to be like this. It's going to be a little tiny word. When I write can on this board, it's about this long because I'll make a big K so you can see it. And K alone in the Gregg Shorthand alphabet stands for the word can, C-A-N. But on a tablet, you just write K, K. I mean, it's real quick and fast. I'm writing it big so you can see it and the audience can see it. So what I'm showing you on the tablet is going to be a whole lot quicker. Okay, bear with me. Let me turn the camera towards the board, and then I'm going to have to focus in the camera. I've already did this before, so I'm going to have to hit it 4 times to actually get the camera to focus in on the board just like I need to. Okay. Let me just turn it real slowly. In my bedroom here. Okay. Okay, about right there. Now let me focus in 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think that's going to be it. Now let me adjust the board here. Okay, I'm going to have to bring the camera down some. Just bear with me. Okay, actually, you know what? I think I can focus out one time. There we go. Yeah, I might be able to focus out again. Okay, now, there we go. Look at all that. Objection, Your Honor. And oh my, is that ever a repetitive phrase that you're going to hear in the courtroom? Okay, now I'm going to show you how to write this out completely in the long form of Gregg Shorthand. Okay, let me erase some of this. Let me erase some of it. Okay, I've got these little things put on the board for a reason, so I don't always have to keep looking back at the camera and see if what I'm writing, the camera's actually picking up and showing you. Objection, Your Honor. Let me write that without the lines first. Okay, in Gregg Shorthand, you'd write objection, Your Honor. That's how you'd write it. O-B, which is ob, J-E-K, that is a J, there's an E, there's a K, and the T-I-O-N. Okay, objection, your. The word you and your is like a little upside down U on a slant. Honor is O-N-R. Honor. Okay, objection, Your Honor. Okay, now let me write that on some lines, and I know you might be thinking, how in the world am I going to write this 300 times a minute? You see, you have to write that phrase, that whole phrase, those 3 words, 100 times a minute. And since there's 3 words in that phrase, if you could do it 100 times in a minute, I'm going to show you a brief form that you can. You will have wrote 300 words a minute in Gregg Shorthand. Okay. Now, in any word or phrase or sentence you want to learn, if you'll follow this format that I'm showing you, in the future when you hear those words or phrases, you'll be on autopilot. You'll be able to just go right. I mean, you should be able to do it just right away, instantly, without even thinking about it. And that's how good you want to get in Gregg Shorthand. Okay, now, let's look at it on the board, how it's, let me get the boards. Okay, objection, Your Honor. On the line, it would be O-B-J-E-K-T-I-O-N. Okay, objection, your, there's the little U that's kind of slanted a little bit, honor. Okay, honor is O-N-R. That is an O-N, there's an R. Objection, Your Honor. Okay, now I'm going to show you 2 different brief forms to write objection, Your Honor. Look, that is uttered so quickly in a courtroom that if you wrote it out in its pure long form in Gregg Shorthand, don't look to get no 300, or be able to do it 300 times in a minute. Okay? And have you ever heard some attorneys, they'll keep standing up saying, objection, Your Honor, objection overruled, objection, Your Honor. They're leading the witness, objection, Your Honor, objection overruled, objection sustained. Okay. Well, I hope I'm not sounding foolish to you. I'm just trying to replicate a little bit just how it actually happens in a but you want to be able to move along with this. You've got to develop, if you really want to be super fast, and you need to be super fast in a fast world that we're living in, because some people talk faster than others, and you're going to have to be able to go fast to get every word. Okay, and suppose you do have a tape recorder and it breaks down on you. I mean, you really want to be able to really kick it out real good. And when you go to put in for a job, you might say, well, I can type 80 words a minute, but I can do 300 words a minute, Gregg Shorthand. Oh my, you just don't know how that impresses. Now, sometimes the pendulum swings both ways. Sometimes the person that interviews you is jealous of your talent and your skill, and they won't hire you because they're afraid that you'll be a threat to their job security, and that once it's noticed by your fellow employees that you're more talented than the person that hired you, then they fear and fret that they're going to be given their walking papers and you'll have their job one day. So yeah, sometimes I've actually seen to where when you go to apply for a job that if they think that you're better than them, they won't hire you based on that, because they don't want to hire anybody better than them, because it makes them feel insecure with their work. So the pendulum swings both ways. But anyway, okay, I've showed you the long way, objection, Your Honor. Okay, here's how some would write in a brief form, objection, Your Honor. They would never write that word objection all the way out. The word objection would be O-B. That would be it. They would let that be their brief form for the word objection. O-B. And in their notes, every time they seen O-B, that would be objection. And Your Honor would be this. They would just simply add the upside down U on a slant. And in Gregg Shorthand, the word you and your is simply a U. It's simply a U. Whenever you're writing any phrase that includes the words you or your, you just put a U, and that stands for you or your in Gregg Shorthand. Okay, so this would be objection in one brief form. Oh, I'm going to show you a better one, though, here in a moment. O-B, ob, that would stand for objection, and then the U would be your, and the honor, instead of writing O-N-R like I did a while ago, they would just put an H, which is a dot above the line. And I think my pen's running out here, and I'm going to have to get another one here. Okay, they would just put a dot above the red line. If you remember in Gregg Shorthand, if you put a dot above a word, there's a dot, O-M, that's home, H-O-M. But if you put it underneath the alphabet at the end of a word, then it stands for I-N-G. This would be H-O-M-I-N-G. So, and that's just a little refresher course. I know we've already been through that, but there's going to be some people that's going to tune into this video the first time that's never looked at the previous videos. So here's how they would write objection, your honor. In a brief form, they would just write the word ob, O-B, that is O-B, and then they'd put the U for you or your, and they'd put the dot, which would stand for the alphabet of H. And they would know, because they've adopted this as their brief form for objection, your honor, they would know that this here is their brief form for objection, your honor. And that's a fast brief form. Objection, your honor. Objection, your honor. Objection, your honor. But I'm going to show you a quicker one than that. And I realize I've got a board here that's kind of moving around a little bit. And it's not stationary. I'm holding it with one hand, so I cannot. And because I'm writing from the side, and I know some of y'all are tired of hearing that, it's not going to be as neat as I would like it to be. But also remember now, everything I'm doing, it's much more larger than it would be on a page. On a page, it would just be objection, your honor. Objection, your honor. Objection, your honor. It would be much smaller, and this is big compared to what it would be on the page. So with pen and ink, you're going to be able to go a whole lot quicker on your tablet than what I'm showing you here. Okay, but I'm going to show you a super brief form of objection, your honor, that you should be able to write 100 times in 1 minute, and that's going to give you 300 words a minute in this practice session that you should be able to do after I finish this video, which should be in just a moment or so. And I'll start another one that covers the phrase objection overruled. Okay, but right now we're dealing with objection, your honor. Okay, now watch this. This is a super brief form, and some of you court reporters have not even come up with this brief form yet. And if you want to adopt this brief form for in the future, your objection, your honor, feel free to do so. I mean, this is one on the house I'm giving to you. Okay. Instead of writing the word O-B, when it comes to objection, they're just going to put the O there. And that's going to stand for objection. Now watch this. Objection, your honor. 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 Okay? Boy, this is really a little crazy there, huh? Because the board's moving around. Okay, let me write it a little bigger for you. Okay, here's your O. Okay? And that's going to stand for objection. Here's your U. You come off the O and you make your U. Okay? The O is going to stand for objection. And this is the U, which is you or your. And then you just put an H there. And I say put the H there by putting a dot, and my pen just keeps giving out. Okay. But you see how much more of a brief form that is. And that, from the moment you start learning a Gregg Shorthand, you should really focus on developing as many brief forms. You remember we looked at medical doctor. That's medical. D-O-K-T-R. That's doctor. But in Gregg Shorthand, in our longhand, just like we write MD, medical doctor, MD, medical doctor. Well, in Gregg Shorthand, let me move the tablet here, we just write MD, medical doctor. There's your M, there's your D. So just like we have brief forms with MD or RR for railroad, we're looking at the briefest form that we can get for objection, your honor. And I'm going to show you for objection overruled in the next video. But let's do this one more time. And believe me, everything I'm doing here, you're going to be able to do a whole lot faster with pen and ink with your steno tablet, okay? You should be able to write objection, Your Honor, with this brief form. Very, very, very easy. 100 times you should be able to write this in your steno tablet in 1 minute. And that will give you 300 words a minute. And every word and phrase and sentence that you practice in the future, take it a piece at a time. Because even though you're only gaining 3 words maybe to a phrase, or 4 words, or 2 words, once you get it down at this speed, practicing just those words, in the future when those words come up in any sentence, you're not going to be doing it at 10 or 20 miles an hour. You're going to be stroking it out at 80 miles an hour or so, because you've already practiced it and focused on getting 300 words a minute with that couple words or that phrase by doing it in the format that I'm showing you. Okay, I'm going to mess up a line here, but objection, Your Honor, 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 objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor, 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 objection, Your Honor. It's that quick, and this slow compared to what you're going to be able to do in your tablet. I mean, I'm writing this stuff bigger, and I'm having to do it for you to see it. But there you go. Instead of writing the word objection, objection, your, honor, O-N-R. That's how you do the word honor, H-O-N-O-R, in shorthand, O-N-R. But remember, you want the briefest form you can. These lawyers are kicking out there, and they're speaking fast. So I think you see, without any controversy, that, or without any doubt or suspicion, that when I titled this like 300 words a minute, now you should be able to do this easy 100 times. Would you get you a little tape recorder and speak it out 100 times in a minute's time? And as you hear it, remember, objection, instead of writing even the O and the B for objection and the U for you or your and putting the little H in the middle of it, now you can do it if you want to like that. But the superest brief form you can get for objection, Your Honor, just put the O for objection. And then just put the U. You're still making it all, it's almost like one stroke like that. Here comes the U for you or your, and then just put the H right there by putting a dot in the middle of it. So, objection, Your Honor. 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 Oh, look. Not only will you do, some of you get it over 100 times, but these 3 words, 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 objection, Your Honor, objection, Your Honor. You'll be able to do it more than 100 times in a minute with your pen and tablet. So some of you will exceed over 300 words a minute in Gregg Shorthand with this phrase, and you'll have it down. And in the future, when you hear objection, Your Honor, you won't write objection, Your Honor. You won't write it slow like that. It'll be objection, Your Honor. I mean, you'll be on autopilot. Objection, Your Honor. Because you've practiced it at this speed over and over again. Your mind, body, and hand, it will be all acclimated together to just really hit it right away. For instance, when I hear the word yesterday, I've already wrote it. I've already wrote it. When I say yesterday, I've already wrote it. I don't have to think about it. I just put EST. And Gregg Shorthand, east, yeesh, yesterday, and a state. It's just those 3 strokes. A little E, and then it's a little S, and it's a T. And you know, my pen, once again, EST. My pen's just kind of giving out on me, folks. Railroad, RR. It's that quick. Railroad. When I hear it, my hand just automatically, I don't even have to think about it. I just make 2 R's like that. Kind of looks like a little mustache, doesn't it? But objection, Your Honor, that is probably the briefest form that you will see. Now, folks, I'm not putting down Pittman. I'm thankful for any shorthand. I'm not putting down T-line shorthand. If you've chosen one of those shorthands, but you know, now it is true that Pittman is the oldest. Pittman is the oldest. But Gregg has been the most successful and the most popular, and much more easier than Pittman. Now, if you don't believe that, go look at a video on Pittman shorthand. And to think that let's say I'm writing two R's, okay, like I did for railroad. Now to change one to be another alphabet, if I make one real super dark, and to think I've got to lighten up my pen, even when I lighten up my pen, the other one might not come out as light as I needed it to. And I'm going to have to differentiate one alphabet from the other because of how dark or lighter one is from the other. Oh no, I see a great weakness there, especially when you're having to write words fast. To make one alphabet darker or lighter than the other, oh no, I'd much rather go with Gregg Shorthand. So now you know, just from that phrase alone, objection, Your Honor. When it comes to Gregg Shorthand, there's no skill amongst humans in the world that exceeds the speed of Gregg Shorthand. It's just simply, folks, the fastest way in the world to write. I mean, objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. I mean, and that is a super brief form right there. For the word objection, you're just writing a no. And you're actually covering the whole word you or your just by making the you like that. Because the words you and your is just simply a U in Gregg Shorthand. Just like the word can, C-A-N, is a K in shorthand. It's just a simple K in shorthand. So objection, instead of writing that whole word out, just like instead of writing out the word railroad, R-A-I-L-R-O-A-D, just two R's. Instead of medical doctor, M-E-D-I-C-A-L-D-O-C-T-O-R, just M-D. I mean, just like we have those brief forms in our English language, M-D, railroad, R-R. Just like we have that in our regular alphabet. It works that way in Gregg Shorthand also. But isn't that amazing? Objection, Your Honor. I mean, it's done. The O stands for